Welcome to the Life with Joey Calvo podcast. I'm Joey Calvo. We are on YouTube, WPPM-LP, as well as PhillyCAM TV. Um, so, um, for the viewers on PhillyCAM TV, that's when this airs in July. If you want to leave comments for any of the guests post watching it on TV on PhillyCAM TV, subscribe to the YouTube channel, which is youtube.com/at Life with Joey Calvo 6194, and click on notifications so that way you know when it goes live. But also, if you want to post comment about the guests or have a question for the guests that I can reach back to the guests to, just leave that comment in the comment section and I will let the guests know. So today our guest is Jayne Sanders. After an MBA of over 20 unfulfilling years in the corporate world, she found her purpose and changed her life in the best way. So looking for her own purpose, she found scientific hand analysis, which is not palm reading and is not so accurate that Forbes will write about it. So Jayne, welcome to the podcast.
Thanks, Joey.
All right. All right. So Jayne, explain to us how you got to this point. So tell us all about Jayne Sanders.
Okay. So I'll give you a shortened version. As you mentioned, MBA, 3 careers, never really was that happy. I really believe that everybody has an innate purpose, and I didn't know what mine was, and that was the problem. Mm-hmm. So what do you do when you're looking for something? You Google. So I Googled, how do I find my life purpose? And eventually ran across a headline for a teleseminar that read, Discover Your Innate Life Purpose. Oh, couldn't click on that fast enough. Mm-hmm. And the first words I saw were hand analysis. And I was very disappointed. I mean, I know palm reading's fun, but I just knew it wasn't what I needed. And then I saw the word scientific. Mm-hmm. So I just really held on to that word and listened to the teleseminar, and it just made a lot of sense. I couldn't really argue with it, and I really wanted my purpose. So I had my hand analysis done, and this has been, 14 years ago. Mm-hmm. Joey, it blew my mind. I mean, it just was, oh my gosh, so packed full of information, some things I'd never thought about, but I knew were right. It just explained my life. No wonder those things worked, but those didn't. And no wonder I liked that, but I didn't like that. And no wonder I made that decision. And no wonder I should have made that decision. It was just mind-blowing. And the purpose that you get with a scientific hand analysis is not a job description. That would be cuckoo. It's a description of the concept behind your ideal work. And everybody has options. And I knew, even though I'd never thought about it in that way, I knew mine was right, but I didn't know what it looked like in terms of work. And I also believed if I took action on the information that I would find my way. I think that's how the universe works. And that's exactly what happened. Just started taking action on the information. And that's one of the things I love about it, that it's actionable. And eventually it was like, well, duh, if I was so lit up and inspired by my hand analysis before I even knew what to do with it, I want to help people feel like that. So I started studying it, and I'm as highly certified as possible. I'm a master, which is just the sheer number that I've done. And it's continues to change my life. And now I change the life of other people. And it's very, very fulfilling.
Okay. So in reference to the hand analysis and the purpose whisper, which we will get to in a moment. Where can I go with this? So it took a little bit of time for you to become, an expert in reference to it. And
Oh, yeah, it takes a long time to study. I mean, it's a huge database.
Yeah. Okay. And this took over 20 years as well?
No.
Okay.
Within 1 year, I was doing hand analysis, and I kept studying it for another 4 years, but I was doing it at that point. So I've conducted, I don't know, thousands.
Okay.
And have clients in 12 countries. Yeah, it's amazing work. And like you said, it's so accurate that Forbes wrote about it.
Mm. Okay. So you said Forbes wrote about it as well. And so like if like say my hand, okay. Yeah, I had a hand reader on before, and matter of fact,
A palm reader?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's different work.
Yeah. Well, I was just saying, and she had me put my hand up.
Yeah.
And she was like, "Oh, well, you have a money line," and I'm like, "A money line?
No such thing in hand analysis."
Yeah. Okay. So
that's the main difference, Joey, is that palm reading is a lot of predictions. There are no predictions with scientific hand analysis.
Okay. All right. So when you do a hand analysis, how do you perform it?
I use hand prints.
Okay.
So I send the client an envelope that has what they need to take their hand prints. Mm-hmm. Let me show you this. See all the detail you get in that?
Right.
So handprints are better than the bare hands. And that's also what allows me to do people in different countries. I just mail them this stuff and they mail it back. And then we do it on Zoom. And I've got their handprints scanned in so I can show them the markings that I'm talking about.
Okay.
It's fascinating. It's fascinating. I mean, the guy that created this spent 40 years and analyzed over 30,000 hands to put the database together. So it's very robust. And that's why it's so accurate. I mean, the average FDA approved drug has 350, subjects. This had over 30,000.
Okay. And so, and you've been doing it for 14 years. And you, like you said, you reached master status, and that, in reference to this, we do have some questions for you, and I have sent them to you in advance. So I'm going to introduce everybody on PhillyCAM TV to our #1 podcast fan, #1 supporter. She's a real life superheroine, and her name is American Fox. And she has questions today. And so the first question that she has for Jayne is this. How did your parents influence your life?
Oh, my goodness. They taught me to be very independent, that my life is my own to shape and fulfill. That some rules are made to be broken, and to be kind.
Okay. All right. So the second question from American Fox is this. What made you start writing?
Yeah, that's probably in relevance to the 2 books that I've published.
Okay.
They both were, one was in a previous business that I had. One is since I've been a scientific hand analyst. They both were written to help promote my work. So no deep stuff there. Although my book about hand analysis is called Twist Twists, Turns, and Truths. And it's stories of my life and characteristics, good and bad, of me involved that show up in my hands. But it's not to teach hand analysis, but you would learn a lot about it. But it is very revealing and vulnerable, some of the stories that I've included.
Okay. All right. So the third question from American Fox, just bear with me one moment, is this. Now, you kind of mentioned it before. She didn't know at the time. So you may get to repeat the answer to this. Has your own hand analysis been done?
And I will say several times.
Okay.
Because, the first time that I told you all about, and then during some of the classes, we would analyze each other's hands, and as we were learning the markings and so forth. So I've had mine analyzed several times.
Okay. And the last question from American Fox is this. What is your favorite horse?
And that's because I'm a horse freak.
Okay.
And I ride my horse just about every day, including this morning already. So I've had 6 horses. So my favorite horse is the one I have at the time. And so the one I have now is Scarlet, and she's red with a white blaze, and she's a wonderful girl.
Okay. And how old is Scarlet?
She will be 17 in a couple of weeks, which is that's early 50s in people age. So it's like the prime of her life.
Well, the reason why I asked that is because I have someone in my life who has horses as well. And she just lost her oldest.
Oh, yeah. It's hard.
And he was 31 years old.
That's great. That's great. Yeah, I've had one till 32.
Yeah.
It's possible if you take real good care of them, and if they don't, colic. I mean, that's the biggest killer.
Yeah, she mentions that a lot in reference to it. In reference to that. So I don't know how she found out into it, but it came up. So she brought it up. All right. So thank you, American Fox, as always, for the great questions, and appreciate them as well. All right. So so let's go back to the books. You wrote 2 books. You said the first one was before you got into the hand analysis. Can you explain a little bit about that first book?
Yeah, the first book is called Gender Smart. I forget the subtitle. It's been a long time ago, but it's about workplace communication between men and women. I worked for a lot of what were in that time male-dominated industries, insurance, financial stuff. I worked for U.S. Steel, Prudential, Ameriprise, Toyota, companies like that were pretty male-dominated at the time, and just helped them work better with each other, the gender differences, and wrote a book about that. Okay. Oh, I know. So it's Gender Smart, Solving the Workplace Communication Puzzle Between Men and Women.
Okay. And what if people were to go research the book, or want to read the book itself, what would you expect them to pick up from it?
Understand those communication differences better and work with them more effectively, because we expect people to be like us, and we're not necessarily the same. Things have changed a lot since I wrote that. It was like 2002, for God's sakes. But to learn about the masculine and feminine communication style, because some men have a more feminine style and some women have a more masculine style. So you can't just put man, woman on it. It's really more masculine, feminine. Okay. So the short answer is to become familiar with and understand the communication style differences and how to work with them more effectively.
Okay. And so let's go into the second book that you currently wrote
Yep.
in reference to where you're at right now. And can you go a little more detail into that as well?
Yeah, it's called Twists, Turns, and Truths, The Life and Lines of a Master Scientific Hand Analyst.
Mm-hmm.
Each chapter is a different story of my life. Happy stories, sad stories, challenging stories. I held very little back and talked about what happened and how I dealt with it, and what I did wrong and what I did right, and how different characteristics of me involved in those stories show up in my hands. So there's a lot of images, of markings that I'm talking about,
Mm-hmm.
and what they mean and what it looked like in each particular story. There's 2 or 3 stories that involve horses in there,
Okay.
but I don't read horse hooves, so it's about my hand, not theirs.
Okay. All right. So in this book, you would expect the reader to look at things through you in reference to how you got to where you're at today.
Yeah, it's not so much how I got where I am, maybe who I am now and how that showed up. And then they can look at the different images and see if they have the same marking, which means they'll have those same characteristics in some way. So they'll learn about themselves as well. And what I haven't mentioned yet is what you find out in a scientific hand analysis is not only your innate life purpose, that's a huge thing, but who you are at your core, special talents you may have to help you fulfill your purpose, tripping points that you have, challenges that you may or may not be aware of that make it difficult for you to fulfill your purpose on a daily basis, where to take action to make your life even better. It's very comprehensive, very profound. Clients call it life-changing, inspiring, validating, and they always call it freaky accurate because they don't expect to experience that accuracy.
Okay. So I put up the website, purposewhisperer.com.
Well, there's a typo in there, Joey.
What?
There's a typo in there. The D doesn't belong. Just listeners, so you know.
It's just purpose? Oh, okay. Hold on.
Thank you.
Yeah. I do apologize.
No worries. We caught it.
Yep.
I wouldn't want to have to count all the typos I do.
Give me one moment. So when people go to Purpose Whisperer, here. Give me a moment. I thought today is just
it's one of those days, huh?
Yeah.
Tell them what they'll find on my website.
That's what I'm going to ask you. Yes. Okay. So when they go to purposewhisperer.com.
Yeah, it's whisperer.
Yeah, whisperer. Yep. So when they go to the website, what would they look forward to?
They will learn how scientific hand analysis can help them, what shows up, what they'll learn, what they'll see, how it changes lives, what difference it makes, what it looks like to take action. It answers just about every question I've ever gotten about scientific hand analysis. Yeah.
Okay.
And there's several places where you can reach out to me.
To
ask more
questions.
That.
So because I kind of ran out of questions in a way. And we practically went through everything in reference to, the purpose of the hand analysis,
Yep.
the website.
I have a good question.
Yeah, go ahead.
So it's like, why would somebody want one? So
Okay.
and yeah, why somebody would want a hand analysis is because, like with me, I was not fulfilled in my work. I didn't know what else to do. They come to me when just life is not working. Some aspect is not fulfilling for them, or they don't feel joyful. They get kicked in the butt more than the average person, and the hand analysis will tell you why and what to do about it. I mean, it's really, this is it's very deep and profound, really is. It's kind of freaky.
So could this, matter of fact, now that it came off, we do have a question for it.
Okay.
Can it be, all right, outside of that, could it be more into, could it be linked to relationships as well?
Yes.
And how can that, where would the link, or where, how could you tell in a hand analysis about a relationship part?
So two aspects to that. Number one, the top horizontal line across your hand that always starts underneath the pinky, and where it ends tells me your relationship style. Now, this is any kind of relationship.
Okay.
Friends, family, romance, all of them, work. And that tells me how you communicate in relationship, how you express love and affection, how you prefer love and affection expressed to you. So you learn a lot about yourself. And it's a relationship. If two people do it to work together, then they understand about each other's relationship communication style. But also, just knowing the information about your partner that comes from a hand analysis is so deep and so, like I keep saying, comprehensive. You'll learn so much more about your partner and how to live together and work together. And that could, again, be a business relationship, a romantic relationship. But because the information is so thorough and detailed and accurate, it's really helpful in helping that couple in whatever relationship they are understand each other better and work together or live together better, more effectively and more happily.
Okay. All right. So in reference to, okay, so we realize now that a hand analysis could also be used in reference to a personal, not just, corporate relationships in a way, but also the, personal, romantic type in reference to it. And so,
oh, sorry. I was just going to say it's really helpful and empowering for parents to get a hand analysis for their child, because then they will know their child's innate purpose, which, by the way, never changes throughout their life. They were born with that.
Right.
The biggest challenge that they will have throughout their life, because that doesn't change either. They're born with that as well. And it's very empowering for that parent to know that about their child, to gently guide them toward their purpose and support them through that big challenge. And then, of course, everything else that's in a hand analysis as well. But it is very empowering for parents as well.
Okay. And so my last question I do have for you, Jayne, is where do we see this in 5 years? Where do you see hand analysis come out more often and becoming a little more popular, into possibly going into society?
I sure hope so. And actually, I just got an email today from one of my teachers. She and 3 other masters are wanting to work toward exactly that,
Mm-hmm.
because even though I've done thousands, most people still have never heard of it. And it's life-changing and so helpful for people. We want as many people as possible to know about it.
Mm-hmm.
So yes, I do think it's going to change in 5 years and be more well-known. And there's overlap, Joey, with other personal growth modalities.
Okay.
Astrology, which is science of the
Yep.
planets, numerology, which is science of numbers,
Mm-hmm.
something called human design. There's the Enneagram, all these things that exist to help people understand themselves better and be more successful personally and professionally. And scientific hand analysis falls right in that. And there's a lot, if you got all those things done, there would be overlap in some of the information that you would receive.
Okay. And so how can people, outside of going to the website now, just to give you folks on PhillyCAM TV an idea, what I'm going to suggest, because there are restrictions that I have to go through in reference to this being on TV. And so before we went on air, Jayne was going to offer something to the viewers. What I'm going to suggest, and if there's a way they can contact you directly and let her know that you saw it on the Life with Joey Calvo podcast,
Mm-hmm.
and that she can work with you and maybe do something special. And how could that be done, Jayne?
If they go to my website, there's several places that say talk with Jayne or ask Jayne or contact Jayne.
Okay. So when you go to purposewhisper.com, okay, look for the link that says talk with Jayne, reach out to Jayne. Let her know that you watched the Life with Joey Calvo podcast, and that you have questions for her in reference to having a hand analysis done. And Jayne will work with you and do something special in reference to it. Like I said, we couldn't do it on here because of the policies that I have to go through in reference to the station itself. And as much as I wanted to do it, and we were discussing it beforehand, I couldn't do it. So we're going to look at it this way. Just make sure, though, you give me a moment. One moment here. And like I said, when you reach out to Jayne, make sure it doesn't matter if you're watching it on PhillyCAM TV in July. It doesn't matter if you're watching it on YouTube now, or when it goes on WPPM-LP. When you reach out to Jayne, mention the Life with Joey Calvo podcast to her, and that way she knows that you watched it. Because after this show airs, it goes on demand, so it will still be in the program guide for the show itself, because they have it as Life with Joey Calvo on PhillyCAM TV. So when they go if they search Life with Joey Calvo and they see the program guide and they watch you on demand, and they could always, like I said, it'll be there to where they can reach out to you in reference to that.
That's right. It doesn't matter how long after today. Doesn't matter how long. I'll take care of them.
All right. Well, Jayne, thank you so much for being a guest. You're welcome to come back on here anytime. And thank you, everyone, for watching the Life with Joey Calvo podcast. God bless you all.
Thank you, Joey.